All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. And first rule of business is I'm going to entertain a motion to go in a closed session for attorney-client privilege.
I'll second.
All in favor? All righty, we are now in a closed session. All right, let's go close ourselves up.
Do you want to turn the recording off for now, Heather?
Yeah.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, John.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? All right, we're now in our regular session. We had a closed session earlier at 5:15. Thank you all for being here tonight. We do appreciate it. And if I could just get everybody to please stand and remain standing. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is Mr. Caldwell here? No. John, would you mind indicating for us?
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly God, the Father, send forth your Holy Spirit to enlighten our board to make the right decisions for our town this evening. We have been blessed as a town. Continue to bless us and bless our family that's here of citizens. May we have a good meeting. Amen.
If you will, we'll have a moment of silence for our neighbors who passed away, Ronald Woodard, Lenore Hellwig, and our neighbors that suffered in the West. Thank you so much. Please be seated at this time. Would you please make sure your phones are on vibrate or just off would be nice. And at this time, I'll ask any of the board members if they have a conflict of interest with anything on the agenda. If not, then I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda with the removal of item number 14.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second. All right, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Next up is the planning board report. Is Ms. Truax here or?
I don't see Chair Truax here. I'd be happy to give you just a brief update on the planning board's last meeting.
Okay.
They met on September 17th for their regular monthly meeting, considered several items, one of which is on your agenda for later this evening for consideration, an ordinance to basically convert special uses to permitted uses by right in the B20 and B30 zoning districts. They unanimously recommend approval of that ordinance. We'll talk about that here in just a few minutes, along with a public hearing. The planning board also gave a favorable recommendation to rezone the properties within the triangle area that are proposed for the town center zoning district. There are some significant public notice requirements associated with that, and we're currently working to schedule a public hearing at your November 12th board meeting to consider that. They also discussed, had some additional discussion about lot clearing activities and whether or not a zoning permit should be required for those. They ultimately tabled that matter because they wanted the input and expertise of commission member Ted Williams. He was not at the meeting. So I expect that they will continue that discussion at their next meeting. They would normally be scheduled to meet tomorrow night. However, that meeting has been canceled. So their next meeting in November is November the 19th. As an aside, I did want to let you know, let the public know that members Ted Williams and Laura Nelson have resigned from the planning board. So you have 2 vacancies on the planning board, and I welcome your direction on how to recruit new members for those slots. And we can talk about that a little bit later on as well. So that's the planning board report.
All right, thanks, Frank. All right, next up is public comment. We have 2 people signed up to speak tonight. First up is Stephanie Mattis. Sorry, Matt, thank you. Sorry. Yes, please, if you would stand at the podium. Is that mic on?
I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to be just a tap it over 3 minutes, but I took it down from 30 to 4 something, so please. This is in regards to the incident with the dog. So good evening. My name is Stephanie Mattis, and my family and I have lived in Star Hill since 2005. We've lived in Carteret County for over 21 years. And never have I thought that anyone in my neighborhood would take the life of a dog. Tonight, I'm here to speak on behalf of a hurt family and an outraged community because the Cormos have made their side of the story known, filled with contradictions and accusations against community members, law enforcement, and town officials. Meanwhile, the family of Ellie, the golden retriever he shot at 7:08 a.m. on Friday, September 27th, has remained silent. I admire their strength, especially given the lies being told online and on WITN TV. I would like to share my story with 3 pictures. This first picture, this is Ellie. And pictured with Ellie are these 3 young girls who loved her dearly and are traumatized and struggling to understand why a neighbor would kill their beloved dog. Just remember that dog spelt backward is God, and one day, George and Maria, you'll have to answer to him for what you've done. Not once have I seen any remorse or compassion from either of you for your actions and your hateful words. Not for the family you've hurt, the dog's life that you took, or the community you stunned. Instead, you took your side of the story to WITN while your victim was a dog without a voice. The family is too traumatized to speak, and when anyone tried to support them online, your wife and her out-of-town friends bullied and harassed them, to the point myself and several others have had to block them. I'm standing here for justice for Ellie, her family, and the citizens who are outraged like myself. If you felt threatened by a less than 2-year-old golden retriever puppy, you could have picked up your child and gone inside. Instead, you used a gun in a residential neighborhood, which is illegal, to learn that you had the gun on you in your bathrobe at the bus stop while children were boarding the buses, to include your own child, is absolutely disturbing. Someone like you should not own a gun. The second picture is my beautiful babies, who, and the reason they're involved is just 20 days before George shot Ellie, my 2 youngest dogs had gotten out. They were chasing a bunny, and though they ended up on Bob White Circle, they did not harm anyone. Miss Cormos posted her doorbell video of them running through her yard, quite like Birch and Ellie were on the news, with the caption, and I quote, "Stay tuned for more reasons why I might go to jail today. Say it with me, we do not endanger children on their own property." As a dog owner, I was horrified thinking that my dogs had scared her children. But after watching the video, I saw that no one was in danger and her children were inside. When I apologized and then asked her to remove the video for my dog's safety because they were still missing, she initially refused and threatened to take care of them if they were to return. The Cormos have tried to link my dog's incidents 20 days earlier with Ellie's death, suggesting that if the police had cited me, this wouldn't have happened, and saying my dog's terrorizing him and his kids is why they legally carry every time they go out their front door, even to the bus stop. These 2 events are completely unrelated. What matters is that he carried a loaded gun to a bus stop and used it to kill a harmless dog. Nothing justifies that. This last picture is of Carter, who is my great nephew, but to me, he was more like a grandson. His family had come to Florida to live with us in April 2022, and tragically, we lost Carter at the age of 2.5. And in a minute, I'll get to why he's involved in the story. We lost him in August of 2022. The past 2 years have been incredibly painful for myself and my family, and especially for my then 11-year-old son, who was there with Carter, his mom, and dad on that horrific day when I and my husband were not home. I share this because I know the harm words can cause. And Mrs. Cormos made the most heartless, cruel comment about Carter's passing on a public forum when referring to me as an irresponsible dog owner and saying, "You couldn't even pay attention to a kid, let alone a dog," referring to me as an irresponsible dog owner. Her words have haunted me, not because I want them to, but that's trauma and grief. But tonight, I hope to free myself from the weight and the hurt my heart has felt from these words. I felt compelled to speak for Ellie's family because I understand trauma and the pain of seeing your child forever changed and traumatized. When I was preparing for tonight and praying for signs and guidance on what to say, I grabbed a random notebook to use in my notes, and I opened it up, and the first page had 1 sentence written on it. "I wish I could go back in time and save my cousin from drowning." Those words were written by my son in his 6th grade science notebook and were a sign that I needed to speak up. This platform allows me to stand for justice where I can be uninterrupted and not harassed or bullied, to support a grieving family and to stand up against bullies like the Cormoses. Mr. and Mrs. Cormos have harassed and bullied me and others who have stood up for Ellie. They claim they value private property, while I invite them to find 20 acres somewhere else. Your actions and words have shown a lack of humanity, and I believe you should face the consequences. It's no secret that after the passing of Carter, I wish to move from my home in this area to be closer to my grandbabies. The one positive thing that this has reminded me is that the amazing community I've had the privilege to live in the last 21 plus years, because when it matters, we come together for what is right. George, there's no excuse for what you did, and I hope you're held accountable. And I look forward to the day that your political signs can come down, because in my humble opinion, you are not fit to represent humanity, let alone represent our state and community. And I seriously hope the justice system agrees. Thank you.
All right, next is Sean Sutherland.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sean Southard. I am actually here tonight as the clerk of BoC. I'm not here for any other reason. I'm here to speak on behalf of the town and its residents in the Hunting Bay neighborhood. We are asking you to please reconsider allowing BoC residents the opportunity to use their golf carts on Cape Carteret roads. On August 10th of 2020, the town commissioners at Cape Carteret voted unanimously to allow BoC residents the option of buying license plates through Cape Carteret. As many residents have friends and family in the town of Cape Carteret, this was appreciated. And since then, there have been 17 BoC residents that have upgraded their golf carts to be in compliance with the town's regulations and have purchased the license plates. I understand that a few events have happened to make you change your mind, but I do implore you to reconsider your decision. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Sean. All right, and that's all we had that is signed up. Speak for public comment. Next up is the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent or approve the consent agenda.
Okay, have a second? Second. Okay. All in favor? Thank you. And next up is the quarter police report. Chief.
Everyone. So tonight we're going to do the third quarter report. Heather, if you go to the next slide, please. So third quarter significant accomplishments as a police department. We implemented computer-aided dispatch software. It was installed and deployed on all mobile data terminals. Reimbursement for the mobile data computer grant was submitted, approved, and we received those funds. New ballistic vests were issued to all full-time and part-time sworn staff. Web cameras were purchased for officers to use with their computers for WebEx, and WebEx was deployed to obtain warrants and process minor misdemeanor arrests rather than driving to Beaufort. All officers completed 2024 in-service firearms training. Next slide. 2024 police activity, total calls for service was 1,161. Officers conducted 3,615 directed patrols. Next slide. Traffic stops, officers conducted 692 traffic stops, investigated 32 traffic accidents, and arrested or cited 262 individuals in the third quarter. Next slide. And mutual aid. So mutual aid, we responded mutual aid to different agencies 25 times, 15 to Cedar Point, 4 to Pelletier, 1 to BoC, 2 to Emerald Isle, and 3 out in the county. We responded and assisted fire and EMS 39 times inside the city limits, and we requested mutual aid or received mutual aid assistance from other outside agencies 14 times in the third quarter. And that is all I have. Is there any questions?
Are we using the mobile radar?
The radar trailer? The radar trailer has not arrived yet. The one that we had before was borrowed from Moorhead. They were kind enough to give us that at the beginning of the school. I'm hoping to take delivery. They actually sent us the bill today, which means it's complete. They had to actually build it. So that the invoice came today. I forwarded that invoice to Barbara, so hopefully we'll be getting that in the next couple of weeks.
just want to commend the department for their prompt response to my mother's house last Wednesday night and their courteous and kind service to both my mom, my sister, and myself.
Thank you.
Chief. I know you're back there, so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, next up is the ordinance amending the Unified Development Ordinance to convert several special uses to permitted uses in the B20 and B30 zoning districts. We have a public hearing for that. Would you like to do just a little
Sure.
overview, and then we'll jump into that before we open it up?
Thank you, Mayor Baker, board members. So this is the item I was referring to during the planning board report. The planning board at a couple of their meetings in recent months discussed their desire to convert all special uses in the B20 zoning district to permitted uses by right. There's ordinance amendments presented for your consideration tonight would make 7 uses that are currently special uses permitted by right. Those 7 are dog training facility, driving ranges, family amusement and entertainment venues, furniture manufacturing and woodworking, go-kart tracks, pet daycare and boarding facilities, and private outdoor recreation. I should also mention that dog training facility is currently a special use in the B30 zone. That would also amendment to the this evening. The planning board noted a couple of concerns in making this recommendation. One is that all of these uses currently exist in our community, 20 zoning district. Second, there was a perception that perhaps it was an error during the development of the BDO a few years ago, that these were listed as special uses rather than permitted uses, and they viewed this as an opportunity to correct that. And then also recognizing that by making these permitted uses provide greater certainty for the owners of those business establishments, it also makes for an easier, more efficient process for any new businesses that might be proposed in the B20 zoning district in these 70 categories. So it was a unanimous vote. It was 3-0. We had 2 members missing. Public hearing is required prior to your consideration. That has been scheduled for tonight. And Mr. Mayor, board members, I'm happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Okay, so entertain a motion to go into the public hearing.
So
Thank you, John. Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're now in public comment section. We didn't have anybody sign up. Did we have anything online? Anybody here have an opinion? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to go out of public meeting and back to regular session.
Make that. I'll second.
Okay. Thanks. All right. I'm sorry, all in favor? Thank you. I just assumed, never assume. My bad. All right. So any questions for Frank? Go ahead, John.
Hey, Frank, just one thing I'd like to insert on the third line item down. It says family amusement and entertainment venues. Can we put family entertainment venues? Put that one word in there so that we don't have to deal with any other entertainment times.
Yeah, I think we certainly can add that clarification if that's the board's wish. There is actually a longer paragraph that goes along with this that sort of explains that, but so yeah. Yeah, I mean, if that's the board's will, I think we can add the word family in front of entertainment. That's acceptable.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I was going to say that I think you're right, Frank. I think these are, businesses, events, whatever, that we already have around in town. And I think it makes sense to sort of have them, approved by right. I've said it before, I'm not a fan of the special use permit process. So to depart from that is I'm happy with that. So I support this.
Yeah, and certainly all of these uses would be subject to all of the development regulations anyway, so they'll continue to be regulated to protect the public interest going forward. I would also add that we do basically retain the B30 zone with many special uses to deal with those uses that may have more significant impact on the community. So, but this makes everything in the B20 zone a permitted use.
Any more questions for Frank, comments? John, would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept with the changes, ordinance amending unified UDO as written.
Second,
I'll second that motion.
all in favor? Next up, the Cape Carteret Trail, Taylor Notion Road, NC 58 to Arden Oaks Drive, resolution authorizing construction contract and capital project ordinance amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commissioners, very pleased to be here tonight to present this resolution for your consideration, along with a companion capital project ordinance amendment. Essentially, if approved tonight, a contract with Sunland Builder, firm here just down Highway 24, to construct a half-mile segment of the Cape Carteret Trail, Central-wide multi-use path, along Taylor Notion Road, basically from NC 58 down to Arden Oaks. This is the final segment of the trail around the Slope Triangle. We currently have a 2.6-mile segment under construction along Highway 58. If you look at the graphic on the screen, that Highway 58 trail will come up here and it will cut across the southern portion of this parcel. The intersection's kind of up in this area. This contract starts on that easement that we retained on that parcel at the intersection of Taylor Notion and 58, goes along Taylor Notion Road entirely within the right of way, and then ultimately terminates at Arden Oaks Drive, where the existing path is right across the street down there. So really pleased to be here tonight to recommend this to you. It's a $270,000 contract. Sunland is a reputable local contractor, and they've done other work for the town in the past. They've done a lot of work for public and private entities in Carteret County in recent years. We utilized an informal bid process for this project. Invited a total of 7 contractors to submit informal bids. It was a requirement with me to better understand the project. 3 contractors took me up on that offer, and we did receive informal bids from all 3 contractors. Sunland's bid was $270,000. Thomas Simpson Construction was a little less than $286,000, and Coastline Contracting was $375,000. So the Sunland bid is in line with my internal estimates of what I expected the project would cost. It is a 10-foot wide path with an 8.5 overlay asphalt over 6 inches of rock base. It essentially involves realigning some of the existing driveway culverts in this area, as well as kind of relocating. One thing that the board should note is that there are 2 wooden boardwalk segments along the trail. They are both up closer to the Highway 58 intersection. One is 70 feet long, one is 50 feet long. They are located adjacent to existing culverts that go into Taylor Notion Road. They are not a part of the scope of this contract, and I'm still working through the specific design of those boardwalks, and I have not yet secured reliable quotes for the boardwalk. So that work will be handled either through a change order with Sunland or perhaps through an entirely separate informal bid process with local contractors to provide work. You may recall when I talked to you about the Highway 58 project back in July, there are 2 boardwalk segments included in that portion of the project. Each one of those is 15 feet long. Those are also not included in the contract that was awarded back in July that's currently under construction. With the award of this contract, if the board approves the contract, we will have expended all of the available funds for the construction of the trail, and we'll have about $10,000 left in the budget. We will still need to identify funding for the 150 linear feet of 4 boardwalk segments going forward, and I'll be working on that over the course of the next recommendation back to you in November to fund those improvements. Those could be significant. I think it could be anywhere from $50,000 to $150,000, depending on exactly how we design that. I'm going to make another attempt with BoC to see the most cost-effective design for those improvements. And I'm sure you can imagine it's considerably more cost-effective with asphalt. So we're working through those issues. But very pleased that if the board authorizes this contract tonight, that we will essentially have the path fully complete later this year around the entire triangle area, again, with the exception of those boardwalks that we continue to work on. You have a companion item for your consideration. It's a capital project ordinance amendment. It's really just a formality. Current fiscal 24-25 budget specifically earmarks $14,500 of the special motor vehicle tax for the trail project. This is really just a formality to put those funds in the capital project ordinance for the project. So they're a part of that budget that I just alluded to going forward. So it's not new money. It's the same money that was included in the general fund. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have and look forward to hopefully moving forward.
So they'll need to be voted on separately, correct?
Correct.
Any questions for Frank?
On the original plans, were those boardwalks shown correctly?
I'm sorry?
On the original plans that you distributed to the contract?
Yeah. So the boardwalks were part of the original plans that were designed by the engineers. They're part of the permits that were issued by BoC. However, when I solicited the informal bids, I specifically directed the contractor to not include those with the intent to either do a change order or perhaps just solicit a different contractor for that.
She's been fine.
Sir, if you're viewing online, if you could please mute your microphone, we would appreciate it, please. Thank you. I guess it's Brad. So I can't quite. Is that mute right there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. There we go. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think this is good. We're so close. We're so close to having this thing done.
All right. I guess we needed two motions, one for the construction contract.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing construction contract for Cape Carteret Trail, Taylor and Ocean Road, NC 58 to Arden Oaks Drive.
Okay. You have a second? Charlie? All in favor? All right. And we'll need one for the capital project ordinance amendment.
Make a motion to make the, or change the capital project.
Okay. Second? All in favor? Okay. Next up, the fall 2024 street resurfacing. You have two there as well, right?
We do. So we decided to get a head start on the street resurfacing for this fiscal year. Of this year, we saw this work done in here. The recommendation for your consideration tonight is 0.7 miles of town streets in Old Cape Carteret, two different segments, one on Yopon Drive, essentially this red line here from an area near Deer Creek down to the northern intersection with Neptune Drive in this area. And the second segment is Anita Fort Drive from Neptune down to the terminus near the town park. The total amount of the contract is $97,125. That is, we anticipate approximately $100,000 of PAL bill funding for the current year. So it is within the budget amount. The budget amendment that you have springtime, a little more than $100,000 that will. It is an 1.5-inch overlay in the street segments based on a review of streets in the old Cape Carteret area by our Public Works Director. We judge these to be the two segments most in need in the old Cape Carteret area. You may recall that our general approach has been and is expected to be in the foreseeable focus on each of the three distinct residential areas of Cape Carteret over a 3-year cycle. So last year we did street segments in Star Hill. The previous year we did street segments in Bayshore. This year it's Old Cape Carteret's turn. Next year we'll return to the Bayshore and Country Club. Happy to make the recommendation tonight. If you have any questions.
We did almost a mile last year. Wasn't it a higher price? Didn't we pay a little bit more for that?
Yeah, last year we did all of Pine Lake Road. It was right at about a mile, and the actual dollar amounts escaping me right now. I think it was around 125,000, something in that range. Does that sound correct, Ryan? Yeah, about 125. Yeah, so that's our goal typically is to get to 1 mile. Couldn't quite get there this year, and felt like these were the two segments most in need. So.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed it was a little bit cheaper, so that was good. Right. Yeah, probably. Anybody else? I'll make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing street resurfacing contract.
Okay. All in favor? All right. We'll do the budget amendment while you're here.
I'll go right ahead. I'll make another motion to approve the general fund budget amendment.
All in favor? All right, thank you. Next up, town manager's report.
Okay. Several items in the written material. Just a couple of the more significant ones. First of all, a reminder, your next meeting would normally be Monday, November the 11th, but that is the Veterans Day holiday, so the meeting is on Tuesday, November the 12th at 6 o'clock. So pushed back one day for that next meeting. I did mention we have the 2 vacancies on the planning board. Please let me know if you'd like us to advertise for applicants for that, or if you'd like to reconsider applicants from the last appointment. One of the questions that Commissioner Ritchie asked me about prior to the last planning board meeting was, is it possible to appoint alternate members to the planning board like we do the Board of Adjustment? And legally, you may do that if you're so inclined. That does require an amendment to the UDO to set up those alternate slots. There's probably some pros and cons associated with that, but if that's something that you want to pursue, happy to have that conversation with you all and pursue that. So, but at the appropriate time, please just give me your direction on how you want to go about filling those slots. Alternatives is completely acceptable. A few other things. I wanted to let you know I awarded a contract for the construction of a new bulkhead. The cost of that is $18,000. We have a budget of $20,000 for that project. We currently budget. That's within my contracting authority of $30,000. So I awarded that. Took several bids for that project, and this was the low, most favorable bid from Coast to Coast Marine. They also built the bulkhead at the Manatee Street Park within the last year. I included a copy of our ordinance regarding chickens. We've been dealing with 3 different locations with chickens, and we're enforcing this ordinance. I just wanted to make you aware of that. I mentioned before, planning to bring council and the ordinance to consideration on November 12th. Hearing that we're scheduling for that meeting. Boat ramp passes November the 1st. I encourage you to be here November the 1st. Online option residents will be available on November the 4th. So, and the cap of 300 will be in effect for this year. And then finally, well, actually not finally, the Highway 58 multi-use path, the Cape Carteret Trail construction, I think is going well thus far. I'm sure you've all seen the construction underway on the Highway 58 right away out there. I expect that they'll finish that project later this month or perhaps early next month. And then last but not least, the Fall Festival, Saturday, November the 2nd, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Hopefully we'll see that afternoon. Carteret. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about the items in the packet or really anything else about.
Potential house burning, 208 channel.
Yeah.
Are we going to have some sort of asbestos inspection before you set that thing on fire?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's taking considerable time. So Chief of the Western Carteret Fire Department contacted me probably about a month ago, inquiring about that, and he indicated they need to go through and identify asbestos and so forth. So if that, and it may not go forward, so if that goes, certainly let you all know when they've got it scheduled. So.
Any more questions or comments for Frank? All right, then we'll move on to the commissioner reports, and we'll start with Charlie.
I don't have anything.
John?
Just like to thank the police department again for your professionalism. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Stephanie, Golden owner. I am. But everybody here, remember this is your town. We want to hear your voices. Please keep coming. Thank you.
I just would like to thank Public Works, Ryan, outstanding job this summer. Lots of great comments on all the work you guys have been doing. And then one really important thing is early voting starts October 17th, and it will last till November 2nd, 8 to 6:30 out at Western Park. And in 2020, nearly 200,000 people did not finish their ballot. So tell your friends, your family, everybody you know to finish the ballot. Start from the bottom and work your way up to the top if you have to. And voting November 5th is election day. So get out there, bring your friends, have a party, go vote.
No, you didn't. You done? I want to say thank you to Stephanie. You know, I didn't realize that a lot of that stuff had gone on. I remember, you know, I live right down the road from you, and while we probably don't know each other as well as we maybe should, I remember the day. Was it a year ago, 2 years ago?
2 years ago on
Yeah, I remember the day, and so I can't imagine that. I can't. And so now to fast forward to where we are now, and it's just so unfair. So anyway, I thank you for coming in and telling us. So I appreciate that. And I did want to tell Chief, thank you. Last time we were here, we had talked about a few issues in Star Hill North, speeding and things like that. I think you've done a great job of setting up and monitoring. I've seen you tucked away in the woods, the tree line a few times, so I know you're there. But I just want to thank you for that because I think it has made an impact, and so I really appreciate that. And Public Works as well. Thank you for the work you've done. I know we've had a lot of rain. In fact, I saw you guys cleaning out a ditch there on Fox Drive one day, and you know, it was one that needed to be cleaned out, and you're using the piece of equipment that you had, and I thought that was great, that we can put that equipment to use, and that we live in a town where we can, you know, purchase those things, and we have staff like you guys to do it, and it just is so fast to get done, and so, you know, good for the town to have that. So thank you for that. Thank you for all the different departments. But that's all I have.
Well, thank you all for being here. That's like John said, this is your town, and we want to hear, you know, what's going on. And unless we live in some of these areas, we don't know what's happening in the different neighborhoods. So it's good to be brought up to date on things so we can handle what we can and address things. It's very tragic what's happened over there, but I think you hit on something that, to me, I think because we are majority great people, majority is good. That's why the news is here, because of that one element that is not the majority, because that's what makes the news. And as sad as that is, and really can't comment anymore on that because this is an ongoing legal issue. But I'm like you as far as I share my compassion and the fact that we do have some awesome people in this town that make up this little community. And to have what we have in this town, as small as we are, is just amazing to me. And I know I'm a broken record when I say that, but our staff is amazing. Thank you all for being here. Public Works, our town staff, police, just over the top. Just cannot say enough good things about it. And you, neighbors, that want to show that you care and you're here for this meeting. And I'm going to shut up, and hopefully somebody will make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make that motion. I'm on a roll.
Thank you, Cameron. Second? All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your week. Don't forget November 2nd. Coming.
All in favor?
All in favor?
All in favor. I did it again.
Twice, well.
Can you tell them ready to go home? Thanks, guys. Thank you. Don.
Good to see you.
Are you ready to be mayor? I need you to come up here and take my spot. I'll run your campaign.